All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about some of the exponent rules that were covered in Algebra 1, Algebra 2. So this should be just a quick review for you guys. So here's just a few different kind of general cases. So here we have a to the n times a to the m. So we have the same base and just different exponents. All we're going to do in this case is we are going to add the exponents. So that becomes a to the n plus m. All right, for example, say we had x squared times x cubed. That's just going to give us x to the 2 plus 3 is 5. All right, in this next problem, we have b to the x divided by b to the y. So again, same base, it's just division now. And we are going to subtract. So it's b to the x minus y. You subtract the exponents. Here, if we have x to the 6th over x to the 4th, that's the same thing as x to the 6 minus 4 gives us 2. That's x squared. And finally, we'll finish it up. Here we have an exponent to an exponent, c to the r to the s. In this case, we are going to multiply those exponents. So that is the same thing as c to the r times s. So say, for example, we had z cubed, that's z to the 3 times 3, which is 9. All right, we got a couple more rules to finish up with. This is one that's pretty common. We have x to the negative third. Whenever we have a negative, we can just flip it to the other side. If it's in the numerator of a fraction, we'll put it in the denominator, and vice versa. If it's in the denominator, we can put it to the numerator. So here, x to the negative third, that's the same thing as 1 over x cubed. A common mistake that kids might make is they'll say that x to the negative third is the same exact thing as x to the 1/3, and that is not the case. We need to put this entire term into the denominator and make it positive. Don't just put the exponent into the denominator and make it positive. So this over here, this x to the negative 3 equals x to the 1/3, that is not true. Okay, and the last one, another kind of common mistake in places where people get tripped up, is if we have x to the n plus x to the n. So same base, and you're adding them together now, and it has the same exponent. Well, this does not become x to the n plus n. Okay, that is not true. In this case, we're just going to add their coefficients, right? And this is the same thing as 1x to the n plus 1x to the n. So that's equal to 2x to the n. All right, a quick example of that is, say we have 2x squared plus 3x squared. In this case, all we're doing is adding their coefficients together, and then the base and exponent stay the same. So that's 5x squared. Let's do kind of one long example problem here. I'm going to change one thing. Let's change this to a y to the negative 2, and we'll make this an x to the negative 2 up here, just so we have some negative work. All right, so starting off, I can see that everything inside of the parentheses is to the power of 2, so I need to square everything inside of the parentheses. So 3 squared gives me 9. X to the negative 2 squared, that's negative 2 times 2, which is x to the negative 4th. And then we have y to the 6th. And we're going to multiply that times 2 cubed is 8. X cubed is obviously just x cubed. And then y squared cubed is y to the 6th. Now we go down to the denominator. That'll give us 4 squared is 16 times x to the 6th, and then times y to the negative 4th. Okay, what I can do here now is I'll bring this x to the negative 4th down to the denominator. Well, let's start with the coefficients, actually. Let's multiply 9 times 8. That's 72. Okay, and 72 divided by 16. Well, we could definitely simplify that. Let's just start by actually simplifying the 8 and the 16, right? 8 over 16 is the same as 1 over 2. So that gives me 9/2 for that coefficient. Okay, in the numerator now, let's just actually focus on the numerator. X to the negative 4th times x cubed is x to the negative 1. Y to the 6th times y to the 6th is y to the 12th. We add those. And then in the denominator, we still have x to the 6th, y to the negative 4th. Well, if I bring the y to the 4th to the numerator, right, bring y to the 4th to the numerator, that gives me y to the 16th. And then I bring the x to the negative 1 down to the denominator. That's x to the 1st, or just x. And so I'll be left with 2x to the 7th. So this is just using some of those exponent rules. Hope this kind of jogged your memory and helped you out.